Welcome back to the All Ball Podcast, where it's all ball all the time. You are here with your host, Sean and Isaiah. As always, this is episode number 49, and today we're going to be talking about the last week of Summer League games. But before all that, Isaiah, how you feeling today, man?
As a basketball fan, I'm really excited. As a Rockets fan, though, I'm a little worried. And I guess I'll start that off by going ahead and just moving into talking about Jabari Smith Jr. and how he has played in these 2 Summer League games. He has been outplayed by both of his matchups in both these games. And just in general, he's been a very concerning prospect.
For me, what I'll say is, I think his offense isn't exactly there, just within those 2 games. His shooting's been off, but I don't think that's nothing to worry about. He's was known as one of the best shooters coming into to the league from this draft. What I've liked, though, is his versatility on defense. I think he's looked really good both on the perimeter and in the paint. Just being able to switch on the guards and forward, centers, whatever he wants to guard. I just think that the team has kind of neglected the opportunity to give him the ball and just let him work.
Okay, taking a step back to the defense, you see, here's the thing about that. His on-ball defense, yes, very good, no complaints there. My problem is that on the defensive end, he doesn't seem to be very good off-ball in terms of being a proper help defender. He seems really late recognizing when to rotate for certain help defensive decisions, especially considering that they had him at center. And so he committed way too hard, especially, and there's one play in the game against the Magic where Banchero was on the perimeter. And so he committed way too hard to that perimeter shot and then just gave up a free roll to the rim.
I thought we were about to talk about the exact same play. It was also versus the Magic, and Paolo was on the wing, but this time Jabari committed to the guy that was driving the ball to the hoop and left Paolo open for a shot. Here's another thing that I want to point out, though, is I did notice that his off ball seems to be a little bit troubling at times. But we also have to think these are a bunch of guys that have really never played together. I'm sure their communication is not up to what it needs to be. So maybe like the switches or the help from the weak side is not there yet, or it's not being communicated properly. But yes, I think as Jabari being a top 3 prospect in the draft, should at least be well off to know when to help. At least better than what he's looked like.
Yeah, like I'm definitely giving him some leeway. Like I'm not saying, oh yeah, he's just straight up terrible off ball and all of that, but it's a little concerning because when you're playing center, it's kind of obvious sometimes when you should commit to certain things. And he doesn't seem to fully have a grasp on that yet, which is why I think it will be a lot better once, the season actually starts. So he'll be alongside Şengün, who will probably be at the 5 instead. Because another thing about Smith is that despite the numbers, his rebounding is also not great. Yeah, I mean that in the sense that there's a lot of times where a board it'll be live, ball hits the backboard of the rim and it's bouncing off, and he didn't even react. And it's a little concerning there, having him run. It's like, this is more so just when Şengün sits, let's say they want to run a different lineup, him at the 5 does not look like a very successful option at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. I don't like him at the 5 for at least maybe halfway through the season until he starts getting some real strength on him.
Mm-hmm.
What I am happy about is that we won't have to see our rookie getting attacked like how Jalen Green was last year
Mm-hmm.
because of how bad Jalen Green was on defense to start the year.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be able to do that to Jabari.
Oh no. Especially because, like we said, his on-ball defense is his biggest selling point at the moment. So, yeah, go ahead and try and attack him.
Yeah. To switch over to a little bit to Tari Eason,
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably been the best out of our three rookies,
And I would absolutely agree with you.
because the way this man is clamping people up,
You
it's
see,
very exciting.
and I'm glad that you said that, because between that and the way that he always, every time that I've seen at least, throws down a dunk on the other end, I just love his tenacity in the way he plays. I've
Mhm.
never seen him look sluggish or lazy on a play. Every time he gets that ball inside the paint, he's looking to dunk it.
Right. And as painful as this is for me to say, he might be the best replacement for KJ Martin
Mm,
because he's taller. He plays a lot better defense than KJ. The only thing is his 3-point shot, but KJ, his rookie season wasn't that
yeah.
great of a 3-point shooter, but he
His
came
three
around.
wasn't great either, but
Yeah,
that's what development coaches are for.
right. And Tari's shot looks a little bit weird. His catch and shoot jumper is, at least to me, unorthodox. But if it works, it works.
And even if it is unorthodox, I'm sure, assuming we have a proper shooting coach in our roster, not roster, but in our front office, then yeah, I think that they will fix whatever mechanical issues he may have that are holding him back.
Hmm. And so I want to point one thing out that's been really bothering me this summer, throughout our two games.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Christopher needs to be stopped.
That is a fair a fair statement.
They need to take the ball out of that man's hands.
Yeah, he looks way too comfortable being the player with the most in league experience.
Hmm.
Like, he's like, well, I'm I played for the real roster last year. Come on, it's my balls, my touches.
Yeah, I need him to be a little bit more like Dacian Nix instead of what he's doing right now. He's taking way too many shots. I want like half of his shots to be spread out between Jabari and Washington, because I think at least Easton has gotten his fair share of shots.
Oh yeah, oh for sure, for sure.
So what have you thought about Washington though?
I really don't remember anything standing out about him.
Hmm.
I know that he's definitely hit a couple shots, but he never really stood out to me anything like with Jabari or with Eason.
Right, and for me, it's almost the same thing. I just like the way that he's been able to dribble penetrate
Mm-hmm.
when driving. He's been able to find, for the most part, I think, the open man, and that should be helpful for especially like guys like Eason, who aren't that well, at shooting the three ball,
Mm-hmm.
to be getting these open looks.
And really, it should also be helpful for Smith as well, because he's not much of a shot creator.
Hmm.
So for somebody to be able to hit him if he is left open, that'll be good.
Hmm. One thing I am disappointed about, and this can't really be helped, is that Garuba's not able to play during the summer league games.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's out with an injury. I believe it's to his leg, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I do remember that it's some lower body injury, so it probably is leg.
Yeah, because I really want him to be our backup center. I think that he can provide some really great minutes when Şengün is needing a rest.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a nice switch up between offense defense.
Hmm.
Where Shingun will be our more offense focused center between his playmaking and his budding scoring ability, and then
Hmm.
Garuba will be that lockdown that'll come in and step up.
Hmm. So my prediction at the end of this, regular season, um, our starting lineup should be KPJ, Green, Eason, Jabari, and Shingun. That's at least what I'm hoping for.
Okay.
Are you kind of on the same page?
Yeah, I think I could see that. I think the only possibility is maybe just for seniority. They might leave Tate in the starting lineup over Eason.
Hmm.
But if Eason keeps playing the way he's playing, I could see him taking that starting spot.
Hmm. Just right off the bat, and I know it's only been 2 summer league games, but do you think Eason's already a better defender than Tate is?
I'd have to see him play against like full NBA level guys first, because
Okay.
we have seen Tate make good defensive plays on LeBron before, and that
Right.
cannot be understated.
Yeah, no, I get you. I just feel like Eason, at least what he's shown, is his defensive tools are very, how could I put this? Very like straight to the point. As to where, maybe if I explain this a little bit better, with Tate, he's more scrappy,
Mm-hmm.
more physical. As to where Eason is very quick, very uh, quick laterally. Just I can't really explain it any
Okay,
better than that.
I know what you're saying. I'm trying to think of a
Yeah.
good example for the other one, but it's like you're saying Tate is like our Patrick Beverly defender.
Uh-huh. Yes.
And then even though it's not the same position, but this is just the first person that comes to mind when I think of laterally quick defenders. Whereas Eason is more like a healthy Clay, where he keeps up with defenders by using, his quickness to stay with them and just solid defensive fundamentals.
Yes. There we go. You explained it for me. Thank you. So is there anyone else on the Rockets that have kind of stood out with to you within these 2 games?
Besides Christopher standing out for the wrong reasons, no, that's it for me.
Okay. So myself, I have not been able to watch many of the other games. I've been able to watch a little bit of highlights here and there, but I know that you said you've been able to catch a couple of them,
Mm-hmm.
at least for the big,
Yeah,
big
for the
prospects.
big names.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so
So
yeah, I'll touch on those just really quickly.
okay.
So to give my overall thoughts on each one that I watched, first and foremost, I'll start with the number one pick, Paolo Banchero. Man, watching him, it really just it makes the draft hurt all over again. As I said before, I really wanted him to be a Rocket, and he is further proving why my desire for him to be a Rocket was so warranted, because he's a much better defender than advertised, for one. Then on top of that, he always seems to make really smart decisions. Now, obviously, nobody's perfect, so, he does make mistakes. But when he makes those good decisions, it just seems like he's far beyond a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, but like the way that he knows how to hesitate in space in order to either draw a defender in or make his defender kind of fall asleep in a sense, and then he kills him with a spin move.
Yeah, it was a little rough to watch the first game that the Rockets played against the Magic. Especially just because Jabari looked very
Rough.
rough is a good word to say, but I'm trying to think of more of like not out of place, but just he didn't know where to be at all times. At some,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a way to explain it. As to where Paolo,
He's the
he looked
one.
very
Yeah, he's the one
sharp.
running the offense. So
Right.
everything just kind of felt natural, whether it was his shots or him making plays. It was all just coming to him.
And it was almost like if the Magic had already given him the keys like right away as to where the Rockets are trying to spread everything out.
Mm-hmm. Because if we're being honest here, based on based on how most of the players on the Magic looked this past season, it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense for Banchero to take the lead on the offense because
Mm-hmm.
Cole Anthony has been a less than consistent prospect. Same thing for Jalen Suggs. He's had his issues. Markelle Fultz's health is still a question. And so I think it's best to just let Banchero run that offense.
I would say Jalen Suggs had more than just a couple of issues. I think his struggles stretched beyond what most people imagine his rookie season would be.
Oh no, that's
But
yeah, no. Trust me, there's definitely more than a few issues. It was more issues than expected for sure.
mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and move on to Chet.
Yeah,
What were your thoughts about him so far?
Chet. I think his first game out, he really clearly proved to everyone why he was the second overall pick. A lot of people seem to, well, obviously, GMs and such, they weren't stupid about it. But there are a lot of people in the NBA fan base who are very concerned or just straight up disrespectful about this man's abilities. And I don't think that's fair to him. He's worked hard to become the player that he is, and he proved it in his first game out. Now in his second game, it was not as fortunate. But hey, such is the nature of basketball. Everybody's not perfect every night.
Mm-hmm. And I have to agree that I believe his skills have shown that they can hold up.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that does scare me is that this man falls a lot.
Yes. The
Um,
Anthony Davis problem.
yeah. Yes, exactly. That's who I was trying to think of. I was trying to think what player falls down a lot.
Yep. This
Um,
man Anthony Davis has an injury scare every game.
mm-hmm. Um, and obviously his body will develop more strength over time. He'll gain more strength
Mm-hmm.
and muscle, but
It's a matter of what happens until then.
yeah, how many times is this man gonna get knocked down until he gets to that point?
Yeah, especially because while falling down himself probably won't lead to any real injury as long as he falls down properly. But what happens when we get into a situation where somebody falls with him? If
Mm-hmm.
somebody lands on him, who knows what could happen?
I mean, yeah, imagine like big old Jokic falls on him or something.
Oh yeah, no, he's done. He's done. That is a season-ending injury right there.
Big old Drummond. No, Embiid
I'm
or
sorry,
Giannis
it's
just
just
trucks
thinking
him.
about. Oh yeah, no. I can see them like injuring him just off throwing an elbow into him.
Mm-hmm. Um. So what about the fourth overall pick in Keegan Murray?
I think Keegan Murray has actually looked really clean,
Mm-hmm.
especially in their game against the Magic. Yeah, he looked really clean in that game. And then especially there was a end of regulation play where the Magic were inbounding. Somebody on the Kings taps the inbound pass. Murray recovers it, dribbles out to the 3-point line, pump fakes to get two defenders past him, and clean splashes the three. That
Mhm.
is some serious poise from a rookie.
Mhm. Yeah, I
So,
think he's looked really good too, just from like the couple of highlights that I've seen.
hmm
That, and honestly, I think he's gotten quite a bit more highlights being shown about him than a couple of the other rookies.
oh yeah, because let me tell you, even though I did end up going out of my way to look at some, didn't see anything about Jaden Ivey just being advertised.
Hmm. And speaking of Jaden Ivey, do you want to go ahead and end it on that prospect there?
Yeah, we can. And I will say that he's definitely better than I thought he was because I didn't know too much about him, and I was really curious about how he would fit with Cade.
Mm-hmm.
But man, his that first of all, the dynamic between Cade's more methodical offense versus Jaden Ivey, who seems to be a much faster player. I think I like that. And then also he seems to be a pretty good shooter so far.
Mm-hmm. And was there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we go ahead and wrap things up?
One last player shout out to Kenneth Lofton Jr. He is a player on the Grizzlies. I don't remember if he was undrafted and they picked him up or if he was just drafted late.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a guy who I've seen a lot of stuff about, even from his time. I want to say back all the way to high school, and he plays a really bully ball style of basketball. And a lot of people seemed to discredit what he was doing because he seems to be overweight. But that weight does not hinder him in any way as a player, because it's not like he's big and he's super athletic like Zion is. He stays to the ground for the most part. So
Mm-hmm.
he just does a lot of back down spins, like a lot of post play. So it makes more sense for him to maintain that kind of weight.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, then I think that's going to be the end of the episode. If you like the episode, go ahead and like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Isaiah, any last comments?
Don't forget, share the podcast with as many people as you can.
All right. We will catch you on the next one.